Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to talk about overcoming the fear of failure. You know, it's a real thing that people who want to succeed don't really dare to go for their dreams because they're afraid of what would happen if they fail. Perhaps they would be ridiculed, perhaps they would be laughed at, perhaps people would mock us because they'd be like, look at that person. They tried to go for this big dream and they failed. Look at them. You see, we have these petty fears about all sorts of stuff in our lives that are holding us back. We should get away from it. How do you get away from the fear of failure? You get away from the fear of failure by understanding what the fear is all about. I think a good way to look at failure, or at least the fear, that's what this is about, the fear of failure, is to understand that you are fearful because it's your old self-image that's holding you back. Now don't let that hold you back, okay? I mean, it's just the old self-image that's trying to hold you back, so don't worry about it. That's why you feel the fear. You're afraid because your old self-image is not in harmony with the sort of results you would be involved in, you would be creating, if you had the success that you dream of having. So, you understand what's going on here? Well, what's going on is that you're going to have to expand and outgrow your old self-image. You have to become the sort of person that would create the results that would be created if you were now successful. You have to be comfortable being such a person. So, no matter what your dream is, in order to overcome the fear, just understand it's there because you haven't ever achieved the dream before yet. If you had achieved the dream, you wouldn't be fearful of achieving it now, would you? You see, this is the problem. It's the self-image. How do you overcome that old self-image? Well, I wrote a few notes here, and that is that you have to become possessed by your dream. Literally. It has to occupy and fill your mind with such intensity that nothing else exists inside your own mind other than the things you desire, so that they can move into physical realities. Look at that potential nervousness you feel at first when going for a dream, as if it's the old self-image that is being replaced. That's what you're feeling. So keep embracing the new and greater version of yourself you'd be if your dreams were realized. Now, this greater version of yourself is literally what I mean, a greater version of yourself. You see, right now where you're standing and where I'm standing, we have dreams of what we want to realize. They're far beyond my physical circumstances currently. I know I would be a different person if my dream would be realized. This is how it goes for you as well. You will be a different, more powerful individual if your dreams were now a reality. Or by the time you actually realize that you would be a more powerful person, but you want to become that person already. You want to understand the sort of person you would be if your dreams were realized, and then start being that person. Start overriding that old self-image that is now trying to hold you back through fear of failure. You see, the fear is there because you've never achieved it before, but you can't achieve anything you want if you dare to act on your dream. And that's the silly part. People then have a dream, but then they feel that fear inside of them and then they don't act. But yet it's the dream that they want to realize. As I said, if you become totally possessed by your own dream, you'll be able to override that old self-image. You won't settle for less than you can get. You know you want to achieve this dream and you're going to give it your very best every single day. No matter how long it would take, you're going to give it your very, very best. Because that's how you achieve whatsoever you desire. Now, there's a fear of failure and it exists in many people. It is like their old selves could potentially fail. But if we understand the realization of our dream is done by a bigger and better version of ourselves, we know that we don't have to worry about it at all. We simply learn to keep up with what our dreams demand from us and develop all the skills and power we need in order to succeed, and then be deserving of such great results as our dreams imply. Ask yourself the question, are you deserving of all that greatness that your dreams imply? Because a person that is full of fear and doubts is not deserving of such great dreams. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? But it's the truth. If you are not deserving of the realization of your dream, you can never do it. You're going to make yourself deserving of the realization of your dream by catching up with them, by living up to them, by becoming totally possessed by them and living in accordance with what your dream is asking of you to do. Then you're deserving. Then you're worthy of the realization of your dream. How could you give someone great success that is constantly fearing failure, that is constantly afraid of other people's opinions? They can never become great successes in this world because their minds is constantly being forced and directed in the wrong place, on the wrong things. But if you become filled with the power and determination to succeed, no matter how far beyond your current circumstance it lies, well, the more you become deserving and even able to realize great things in this world. So look at it like this. You have this dream and you might be afraid of realizing it, or at least you might be afraid that you would fail, that it won't work out the way you want it to work out. That's okay. It's just part of the journey. Sometimes we do things that don't work out for us. Then you change your approach and you still keep on going. People might laugh at you, might ridicule here and there, think it's funny or silly that you even tried. Let them. It's their point of view, it's their life, it's their perception. It doesn't have to influence you. You just have to understand what your dream is all about and be so determined that you're willing to do almost anything you need to do in order to make it happen. So if that means failing a couple times, you have to be willing to accept those failures, because ultimately those failures will simply help you to understand how to do a better job and get back at it again. You see, that's how you grow and expand as an individual to begin with. It's like if you're afraid of failing, it's like you're afraid of growing as an individual. Isn't that silly? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of becoming a better, more powerful individual? Because you shouldn't be. And you see, that fear of failure is because of mass consciousness and how we've been trained to listen to what the masses would say and to not stand out so much. But we want to stand out. You want to achieve your greatest dreams in life. So again, the fear is your old self-image. Don't let it control you. Just don't let it do it any longer. That's what I've learned over the last 12 years of my life. Even before that, I would have dreams and I would be nervous. I would be afraid perhaps, but I would still act on them. And as I did, I would start to reach more and more of my own dream. I would start to manifest more and more of what I actually dreamed about. Even though at first it was scary, Even now things can be scary. Giving seminars can make you nervous, anyone. But I once wrote in a book years ago, even though I would be nervous potentially, I know I'm looking at a reflection of my own dream that is turned into reality. So why should I let that nervousness or fear stop me from taking action, from going further with my life, with my goals? That's what you want to understand, is that fear that you feel is actually a good sign. It means that you are at least contemplating of going for your dreams, of taking it serious. But then you're confronted with your old self-image that has never reached the realization of that dream before, so you might wonder, am I really capable of doing this? Are people gonna laugh at me, etc.? But then you'll understand, I have to outgrow my old self-image by becoming this new greater version of myself that does wield the power to make these things happen. I'm going to embody that bigger, better version of myself right here and now, so I can achieve my dreams. So I'm actually feeling fearful because I'm already on the road towards the realization of my dream. Now I just have to push through the fear. And that pushing through the fear shouldn't be a struggle either. Again, a fun game you could play is simply to say, alright, what needs to be done in order for me to progress further on this road towards realizing my dream? I'm aware this certain activity is making me nervous. It's making me afraid. I feel uncomfortable. But I know I should be doing it in order to realize my dream. Alright, well then you can look at it from this angle. If I take action even though I feel afraid, I shouldn't be afraid. I don't have to be afraid for very long, because what I'm going to witness are physical aspects of the realization of my own dream in the first person, present tense. So I'm looking at my dream already manifesting. That's the trick. You see, it's like a little trick you have to play on your own mind, is to not look at the fear from a negative angle, but from a positive angle. Have you considered this for yourself? Because most people would stay stuck at the negative side of the fear. But if you look at it from a positive angle, from the fact that these activities though are in harmony with my dream, I should just go for it. Hell yes, let's do this. And then as you do it, you become more comfortable in doing it over time, as you develop the skills on how to go about it, as you get used to doing the activities. And then one day you'll be so confident that it would be no big deal to do these activities that one day were so scary to you. But as you now became so confident and comfortable doing them, you also automatically have transformed yourself into that bigger, better version of yourself that you needed to be all along in order to realize your dream. This is the way to overcome fear of failure, is by understanding that it's not a bad thing to begin with, but to learn to look at it from an optimistic angle. So even there, you start to extract the good parts from it, instead of staying stuck in the bad. This is all part of the power of conscience that you have. You can always see good in any situation, no matter how bad it might seem at first. Most people don't want to accept this premise. If something seems bad, absolutely horrifying, then we're inclined to just focus on that alone. But that would keep us stuck, and if it doesn't keep us stuck, at least it would keep us in a very bad place, emotionally, mentally, physically perhaps, because it's not really conducive to living a fun life if we're stuck in negativity. And fear is a negative emotion. But what is fear? Fear is just a feeling of nervousness that you're having throughout your body because mentally you're unable to properly grasp or believe that what you're about to do is really going to be a good thing. But if you know that God is always working with and through you, then even though you are afraid as a human being, you will know it will guide you towards the right activities. Activities that might be far beyond what you've ever done before. Again, therefore it makes you nervous because it lies far beyond your old self-image. It's that way you look at yourself. This is what Neville Goddard would say as well. You can never do something unless you confirm for yourself that you're capable of doing it. You can never outgrow the concept of yourself. So if you don't see yourself as someone that can succeed with the very thing you want to achieve, then you'll never be able to do it. So if you start doing it though, and then you have the fear, you understand this is part of the process. I'm growing to watch this bigger, better version of myself. So I'm not going to let fear stop me. It's just that old self-image. Let it be what it wants to be. Grow out of it. Become this greater version of yourself that can achieve these dreams. And it's a process of expansion and growth. This is all part of a journey that you're on. And that's the beauty of it all. That you don't have to let it stop you any longer. You see, the fear of failure has never really stopped me. There have been times where I would be so nervous that I would think of giving up. But I would always still do it in the end. Sadly though, most people would give up. Because it's more comfortable then to go back to their old lives. But you know, your dreams, once you've achieved them, you always want to achieve bigger and better dreams. So they're never going to be static. You're always going to be called upon to expand and express yourself more fully as an individual. And then the fear might hit you again. You're going to go for another great dream that you haven't achieved before. It's going to ask of you to grow and become an even bigger, better version of yourself. But as you develop the insight on how to look at fear from a positive angle, and then based on experience throughout your life, it becomes easier and easier to step out of your own comfort zone temporarily to get things done that need to be done in order for you to realize and manifest your dreams. You see, this is really, it's such a tricky thing because our fears can be so different. Like, some people might be totally comfortable with something, but then they might fear or be uncomfortable with something else that might be totally comfortable to us. So we all have a different angle from what we are comfortable with. But the process is always the same. That's the point. The process for everyone is the same. We're going to face that fear. We're going to understand this what I'm feeling inside of me is because of my old self-image. It is not used to doing these activities that I'm called upon to do. But I know I'm going for that great big dream inside my consciousness, so I'm going for it. I'm going to do the actions. I'm going to take the actions that I need to take in order to make this so, because I can feel God with and through me. I can feel the universe inspired me to take action. It brought me these ideas to act on them. So I'm going to act on them. I'm going to obey them. I'm going to respect the intuitive suggestions I received from the mind of God. You see how beautiful that is and how powerful? Once you really look at it from that angle, you will no longer let fear stop you. Because ultimately it's just a temporary experience anyway. And I hope for your sake that you won't let it stop you. Because you don't have to any longer if you learn to look at it from a positive angle. Everything we've said through this video will help you to look at it from a positive angle if you really think about it. You don't have to be afraid forever. It's just part of outgrowing old patterns of your own soul. And that's what you're feeling. That's that nervousness, that anxiety, that fear. Let it be what it wants to be. It's not part of the bigger, greater version that you'll become once your dream is a reality. And it will become a reality as long as you stay loyal to it, meaning you'll do whatever it takes to make it so. You're no longer afraid. You know it's God acting with and through you. Would God be afraid? Ask yourself that. No. Why would God be afraid? Of laughter from other people? Of failing? Of looking a little silly? Of having it all go bad entirely? You can still use your mind to outgrow all those things once they occur, if they would occur, that is. So you're never gonna be stuck anyway. What's the big deal? Just go for your dreams. Don't let the old self-image hold you back. That's the main important part to remember. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.